My first question to you guys is what's love?
You want to answer?
Do I want to answer? Do you want to answer?
You go first.
What's love? I think as it relates to marriage, like love is like different things at different times. When you first get married, when you first engaged, and it's that real romantic, that real lovey dovey, that we make goo goo eyes at each other, and it's like in this like emotional whirlwind, and then once we've been married a few years, and that reality sits in, we not boyfriend and girlfriend no more, and then that love kicks in. Like that is not just the words you say. It's it's what you do. It's who you are. And then like even now it's I don't know, it just is.
Uh, it's complicated and it's not complicated. Most of the time, love is your being of all your emotions, your thought process, your feelings, and sometimes it's simple and sometimes it's not. Sometimes the harder things to do are the right things to do. Sometimes the simplest things to do is just trusting yourself of what you feel like you love of people or what you do or yourself. Most important yourself. Um, Loving yourself, loving people around you, loving God, uh, can be very, very complicated at certain times. Sometimes you do stuff for yourself that you wouldn't do for others, but then that's a complicated feeling because sometimes you have to love yourself to do for yourself. But sometimes you have to love others more than you love yourself to make sure that you're a loving person to express more love. And yeah, it's simple and complicated. But what is love? Simple and complicated.
Yeah, because if you ain't good, we ain't good.
Right. And then if you definitely can't really show love to other people, how can other people love you?
That part, showing love where how you receive it.
Right.
Because how I receive love and how I give love isn't the same. And then the same for you.
Right.
How you receive love, the things that I do that show you love, I think that was a little learning curve on that.
Yeah. A hard
Especially when you grow up in a way that showing like we don't really show love and affection to one another because we
one.
don't show like that's a sign of weakness. How do you become vulnerable with somebody and show love and be vulnerable? And I know that for me, that was one of the things I loved about you because like you didn't care what it looked like. It was like I love you and that's what it is and I don't care. And
And to kind of answer like what she's saying, sometimes you got to understand that if you are in previous relationships or even relationships as you grow from, like your first boyfriend or your first person you said I love you to, or you really meant it, or you didn't really meant it, and for so long, but we kind of know where I'm going with this, is that when you don't care, as she stated that I was, it's because you want to see and you definitely are not holding back. So, you didn't care what it was. If it was true, it was going to be real love. If it wasn't going to be real love, it was going to show itself even in the moments that you would do more or you would do less or you would just be like, look, I don't care however it is. So,
yeah, I don't think I had ever been loved like that. Like you taught me how to love. I had never experienced that before. You think like I don't know. we have these all messed up ways of what love is, all these unrealistic ideas
Yeah.
of what love is.
A lot of people come with a lot of unrealistic. And the reason why it's unrealistic is because if you come into a relationship and you want something and somebody has to do this and this and this to make you feel loved, then obviously that's not love. You're not going to ever get love. You're just going to get a person that's going to do stuff and they can't love you and keep doing stuff. They either got to love you and then know to do things to know accordingly to feel more affectionate and feel voids in your life.
Yeah. Because I thought it was your responsibility to make me happy.
Right. And I thought it was your responsibility to do the cooking, the cleaning, and yada yada yada. And like, you know, it's you get confused in thinking that people are supposed to do stuff that you thought that's the way because you saw somebody else do it, or that was how it was in your household. That really ain't what you wanted. You just saw somebody do it. You just didn't have no clue of what to do with it.
And the things that what our parents had to do back then isn't like what we have to do today either.
It's a whole new world. It's a believe it or not, it's a generation that should understand that love takes two people, not just one person doing it all. You don't have to be the title of being the person that makes the more money in the household or the person that does more in the household. Those two things are the same title because one balances the other balances the other. So within love of the household, one knows the value, but you can't make your value greater than the other because you're both doing equal jobs inside. Because 9 times out of 10, and I think this really makes the best statement, if you make the most money in the household, you're away from the household the most. You're not at home. I don't care, fact check me, Google me, whatever. You don't be at the house that much. So really everything that happens at the household has to be taken care of by somebody else. And 9 times out of 10, a lot of people will, look at it like, well, somebody has to take care, somebody has to take care of the house, in the house. And most of the time it takes people that love each other to understand, like, we have to work with each other. Everybody has to work with each other.
Yeah, but I gotta say, like, the only thing I want to say is I feel like it's not 50-50. I feel like that's a misconception.
Nah.
That's a misconception.
50-50 will get you stabbed, killed. I mean, not killed like murder, but killed in feelings. Stabbed probably with a fork, maybe, because, you're going to probably be arguing about stuff. But it's never 50-50. You got to take it for what it is. It may be 80-20. It may be 70-30.
Because in different seasons, that's right, in different seasons, it's different things.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean.
But yeah, I think that it's a whole misconception, a misnomer to think that it's 50-50. It is not.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes.
And you'll just be arguing because somebody doing more than the other.
More than the other. And tell you the truth, that's a complication because when you start arguing who does more than the other, you're starting to figure, like, every time that I do more than you, I do more than you, I do more than you, but then you don't see what the other person does that you don't see.
Right.
It gets complicated.
When do you feel loved the most?
First I normally feel love the most when it's unexpected, when it's love language wise. I forget mine is
quality time.
Quality time. Words, a little bit of words of affirmation. So those things make me feel loved the most because, like, I think my demeanor and my way of feelings kind of project it where I'm not actually asking, and actually she can agree. I don't ask, I probably just will do for myself, but then like asking, if I'm asking for any kind of like help or something, I'm like reaching out, and you know, the love of it is that when I can ask, I don't burn my bridge where I ask too much or I act some type of way or I don't help. The love affection is that I can ask and she'd be like, "What do you need me to do?" And I'm like, "Okay, like we're in a good place. We're always in this good place." And I think really my love of what do I feel like is love is that we got each other. We can actually depend on each other, and it makes it more easier that we're like for each other to make sure that we don't have to go without anything.
So you feel loved when I do for you?
Mm, I think when I can actually say that I can ask of you to do for me and to be kind of celebrated sometimes from you, that it's like you can actually speak it in a conversation and be like, he really don't ask me for stuff, but when he do, I'll do for him. And that's not me saying that. I think it's really me saying like that we kind of have each other's best interests in doing for each other, and that technically we kind of know each other enough that we love each other to know like he probably ain't gonna ask me to do this for me, but when he does, I know he must really really need me to do this.
Wow. That was an unexpected answer. Okay.
And it's good.
It was. It was. That's not at all what I was expecting you to say.
Okay.
For me, I
Mhm.
feel the most love in those little quiet moments, like right before we go to bed.
Mhm.
In those little quiet moments, like right before we get out of bed.
All right.
Especially like if we wake up and it's a day that maybe we got an hour to lay in the bed before we have to be somewhere.
Or it be raining good and we ain't got to do nothing that morning. Oh my goodness.
Those be the.
Yeah, them be the best ones.
Except sometimes you're not a morning person and you be mean in the morning.
That's when I'm kind of catching that you flipping and flopping in the morning.
But that's when I feel. That's when I feel the most love. When you're in a good mood in the morning and we just get to lay in the bed and just talk or just lay there.
Right. That wasn't this morning though, but okay.
It was not this morning.
Or yesterday.
I wanted to ask you guys, how did y'all make y'all marriage last this long?
Ooh, the fun question.
I'll let you go first.
It's a continual process to me on the key to making marriage last. Communication is key. Learning how to communicate with each other. What we found out in our earlier years is we was talking to each other. No, we wasn't even talking to each other. We was talking at each other. We wasn't necessarily talking to each other. Learning how to speak in a way that the other person can receive it. Because learning to say the hard things, because I'm a deal with it like in your face kind of person. Like, no, we gonna handle this right now. That's not him. So learning how to do that. Learning how to, number one, even make him feel safe for us to even have the hard, difficult conversations, which means that I had to learn how to process my feelings first before. Now that we've been married so long, now we know that if you get an angry response, okay, there was something right there. There was a trigger. Now, because I'm probably the person, I'm probably the person in the relationship who probably I don't think I do the best on when I've been triggered. So now if I respond a certain way, I can be like, okay, well, I didn't even know something was there. But I think that whole process and learning what it meant to be soft, because I was a single mom for 11 years before we got married. So, I'm a tough black woman. I'm the, the the black single mom. And, you know what I'm saying? You got to be tough and you got to have all the answers and you don't ask for help. And I got it. I don't need nobody. I had it. Nah. So to learn how to like be soft, to you talked about asking when you ask for something, but learning to ask for something as well, and that I didn't have to have all the answers.
Made it very, very clear. Because I think really we we almost didn't become because it was so much of a independence, but also as she said, 11 years. I met Kiera. Kiera was 11-year-old, and I didn't know that it was gonna be like, hey, she's gonna be in your face, like I don't need you, blah blah blah. It's whatever, and I I felt I felt probably pushed, but I felt like it was almost like it was pushing me to say like, hey, if you're this, I ain't gonna say difficult, but if you're this passionate a little bit and you feel like okay, let's just see if it fits a little better if we're together doing for each other and not fighting against each other. And I think when we first felt it, we kind of was embodied that we were just like, okay, let's see what we can do. We can do this and we can do that. And then sooner or later down the line, we kind of fell off that. We were just like at each other's throats. Like it was a heavyweight fight.
Cause I ain't no punk.
Are you talking to me? No, I ain't talking. Yeah, I'm talking to you. It was always like we kept talking at each other.
Cause you ain't gonna talk to me like I'm nobody.
It was like we weren't really even getting into the conversation. We even forgot what we was mad about. You could get so mad and talking so sideways to each other, you could forget what you was talking about, what the discussion was. Even to the point one year we were fussing at each other so bad that we forgot it was our anniversary that day. We were going to sleep fussing. And we was like, something about the day just making this kind of crazy. Like, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know. I think one of us checked our phone or something. And we was like, oh man, we over here fussing. We're having food. And today our anniversary. And we laughed about it. I mean, because it was like, to us, we were so into it that we were blinded by, that this day was like the day that we said I do. You can get blinded by a lot of it if you're not focused of, trying to be humble with each other, working with each other, being consistent, keeping each other's feelings and emotions. Feelings and emotions. I'm saying that feelings and emotions for a reason. Feelings make you feel like you've been hurt. Because an emotion, you'll do something else off that emotion. That feeling, you have to check yourself for a second. You definitely got to feel like when you are with somebody that you have to respect both of those and understand that you can't let one override the other. That's hard. That's very hard. Trust and believe.
I kind of find it hard that y'all ever fuss. Like, it's kind of like I ain't never seen y'all mad at each other.
Now.
Man.
Now. In the beginning, he couldn't do nothing right.
It was like, let me say it the right way. If she told me to go to the store and get cocoa butter, I got Vaseline cocoa butter. I come back. If that wasn't the one she wanted, knowing I don't even buy or use or anything, when I got back with that Vaseline cocoa butter, I felt like I either saved money or I used to do this a lot. It was a 2-for-1 deal. It was 30 whatever percent, or not even that. It was like $1 off. I would do stuff like that because I'm thinking like, hey, she just got more, and I saved $1. I would bring it back. This ain't what I wanted. I told you, and I'm like, well, I don't use it. I don't know. and we would go at it. But the interest of it was,
Mainly because that was a great value. He bought great value everything.
I don't know.
He bought sheer value. He go to the Piggly Wiggly and buy the, ain't that sheer value is Piggly Wiggly?
Yeah, I didn't know. I just bought what I bought, and because I was like, if I was sitting to get it, I didn't know. But if it was something that I pertained of using, I just if it said $1 off, I got it. If it said 2 for 1, I got it. Matter of fact, it was like stuff that didn't even make no sense. I would just buy two of them just because it said like 2 for 3. Buy two for $6 and something, saving money or something.
Yep.
And
Big spender.
and she would go off about it, and we'd be
Big
fussing at it,
spender.
and it'd be crazy. And I'd just be like,
Before we had it.
I'd be like, you go
Didn't
next
have it.
time. You go. I ain't going. You go. You know. we better. We a little bit better now. I kind of know what she kind of wants. I know what she kind of needs, and you know, her little.
That getting to know each other process.
Yeah, that had about a whole lot.
Yeah, that getting to know each other process was tough.
Previously,
That was rough. That becoming one. People talk about becoming one, and they make it sound sexy. That's an ugly process. Them two becoming one. We now one flesh. Baby, that joining together though. That's an ugly process.
even in arguments, it's like when we weren't really on the same page with each other. You know, we could walk to the other side of the house and kind of still be mad at each other. Matter of fact, I remember one time we were like, I think we did like, I don't know, we did quite a few days. We did not speak to each other. I brushed my teeth, she brushed her teeth.
That was
she
him.
used the bathroom, I used the
That
bathroom.
was him.
Like I walk out the door, she walk out the door.
That was.
I got
That
home.
was you.
You cooked your own food, like whatever leftovers. I mean, it had gotten to the point where we just had to stop because we were tired of it, and we was like, "You gonna talk to me?" Because we had just got so upset. I don't even know what it was. I can't even remember what it was. Whatever it was big enough to make us like stop talking to each other for like days until we just had to be like, "Look, it's ridiculous. We walking around here like we can't do nothing. We're gonna pee the other one off." And like, oof. I'm so glad.
That's because.
So glad we don't have no
That's
place.
because for somebody, confronting an issue was difficult, and somebody avoided it at all costs to the point of ridiculousness.
Mainly because I avoided a lot of issues. Because for me, I felt like if I said something and she didn't like it, it was gonna be retaliation. Mainly, the retaliation wasn't that; it was that I had she called it passive aggressive. So I had a lot of stuff I wanted to call her out on it. I just never called it. So then when I feel like when you play, like you gonna say something to me, I'm finna pull it all out, and we finna just go ahead and get it all out the table. And I think I had to learn most of the time, you better deal with it first before you actually let it build up. Then you're gonna have all these problems. You know, she may make one statement. I got 10 statements that I built up because I didn't like something, but I just blew it over. And it definitely showed a whole lot, you know, processing and growing to the point where it was like, look, I don't like you left a candle on the other day. I could do that now. Previously, I would have just waited a couple weeks when she was like, hey, you leave all the lights on in the house. Nah, but I'm not gonna say about you leaving that candle on the other day. Like, come on, you know, I would do stuff that would really like misunfortunately sabotage, and it would just build up, and then we'd have these arguments for nothing when we could just move on. She could say you left the lights on, I could just be like, okay, and I flip the lights off. That's it. Or now I don't even turn them on sometimes. Or you know, I do. I turn on all the lights and I leave them on. She open up all the blinds. I don't like all the blinds being open in the house. That hurts me. So I can live with it.
It goes back to communication, because a lot of times, and I especially feel like in the black community, we don't address things. We talk around it. You can hear the subtle things and the little jabs and stuff that's being said and made, and then what happened? Then you blow up, and now stuff blowed up about nothing when we could have talked about it. We could have dealt with it. We could have handled it. Because at the end of the day, I love you. I got your back. Like, ain't nobody out here trying to hurt you. Like, so we could just talk about it. If I said something, if and especially I'm doing something that I didn't know that made you feel this kind of way. That's not my intentions. But if you don't let me know that when I say or when I do this certain thing that make you feel some kind of way, and I'm just gonna keep doing it because you don't know how to tell me, or maybe you don't have the emotional maturity to be able to say, hey, that hurts my feelings, or I don't like that, or it takes me back to, maybe it takes you back to something that happened in your childhood or something. That, so, you know what I'm saying? Like, but then that's all that part about communicating and learning how to be able to speak. Because you can't be walking around here blowing up each other. Like, every little thing. Because at one time, every little thing he did, it got on my nerves. I didn't like it. And I let him know every single time.
Yeah, that's how it was. Like, we had a talk this week. I was discussing on how I felt like getting my hair cut. And she made the statement. She was like, yeah, you looking a little homeless. I felt some type of way, and I was like, what? I was like, ooh. Like, she just put me out like that. So I think it was before I got the haircut, she was like looking at an old picture of me. And she was like, you look good on that picture. I was like, I didn't know I could look good on pictures. She was like, why you say that? I said, I thought I looked homeless. You said I looked homeless. So she had a laugh about it. And then when I got the haircut the other day, she was just like, oh, you look like somebody. I said, no, I think your words was homeless. Now, previously before, I would have felt like years ago when we first got together, I would have felt that a little bit offensive because I was thinking like, I'm trying to wait it out. I'm trying to, but I knew really I was pushing the limit. So basically I was looking homeless, but more importantly because I choose to. Not because she made a little joke about it or had me feeling some type of way. I had myself feeling some type of way because I let myself get all out and stuff like that. And previously before I would never acknowledge that. I would have just been like, oh, you got little jokes. Like, oh, okay. I ain't like that joke. So I think, most of the time we also gotta understand that we put ourselves or we have feelings that we feel may be hurt, but also are we putting on these feelings and then not understanding like are people really trying to hurt us or not when they make comments. So I definitely can see that the growth definitely came a long way from that.
For the people that don't know, like how long have you been doing your company as far as the short stuff photography and also like how do you stay so creative?
Wow, okay, so in 2012, I think it was, I had a surgery and it didn't go well. I ended up in Birmingham in the ICU. Who died, and before that moment, it was like I'm gonna. One of these days, I'm gonna do this. One of these days, I'm gonna do that. And that near-death experience, um, it impacted me in such a way that it was like, actually, I'm not putting off another day. If I want to do something, I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna stop saying one of these days. That means it's now. So I've always loved photography. I always loved taking pictures. The people around me hated having pictures taken. They found it annoying for me to have the camera. And I paid $150 and got me a DSLR camera. They might even got it to me for. Did y'all buy me that camera for Christmas or did I buy it? You remember?
I may have did.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah.
I felt like you bought me the camera.
Yeah, I did. I did.
So, you know what I'm saying? So I took a camera, a little amateur photography class. At the time, I paid $150. So it was $300 total for me and my daughter, who was 14 at the time, to take this Photoshop class, Introduction to Photoshop. So, of course, people know you take pictures, so then people ask you to take pictures. And so in the beginning, it was just about standing out. Well, then I messed around and started making a couple of dollars, and it paid for my daughter's camps in the summertime. And then fast forward to her senior year of high school, and she's um, got into these top tier schools, and it was like, yo, we she need to live, and we gotta live too. So we need another stream of income. So the first month that I said I was gonna do pictures professionally, I grossed $5,000 that month. I was like, yo, this what's up. Now I didn't have the systems and processes in place, and it ended horribly, but I made the money. I didn't know what to do. So I knew I was on the right path. So I went and did a mentorship class because at the time I have a daycare center, so I thought I was going to specialize in children's photography. So I went to Atlanta and did this, mentored under this lady, Shannon Lee Studios. And she started out, because she worked in daycare as well, so we had that in common. And her husband worked with her in the business, and but, you know, he started out as a mechanic, and I think at the time Jeff was driving over the road. So I was like, yo, if she could do this in Atlanta, I know I can come back and do this in Dothan. So that's how I get the first studio, June 2016, right after my daughter's graduation from high school. And then it really was just about, like, and maybe because I'm in business already, it was like, yo, I can't compete from the bottom. Um, $30, you doing all this work for $150, and the people were mean. They were mean. But you know, of course, the pictures ain't that good at that time. So in the beginning, it's just about the evolution of like, okay, I've got to put myself in a way that makes it worth my while financially, number one. But then number two, I wanted to take pretty pictures, and so I did mentorships. And you know, I think probably in the beginning I didn't identify as a creative, and even now, like, it's still a little bit hard for me to embrace that I'm a creative. But I love it, and I feel like iron sharpens iron. So the more you work at it, the more creative you become. You know, you start learning lighting. You learn about camera composition. Um, you learn about the lens choices and your light modifiers. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, now to be able to elevate it, now I know what this light does, or what, if I do this, it's going to give that, or I try to take a good picture and build and make it even better. So it's been a super cool, especially like now I can see to have a concept and an idea, and I don't know necessarily all the way how it's gonna look and come together, but I know like something good's gonna come out of it, and it's real exciting when I do it now. And when you take that picture and you got that great picture, and it's like, yeah, when it's straight out the camera like that, you know, all you gotta do is go in and do, you know, some little small cleanups, some little small touches to give it that little extra pop. Yeah, I really love that now. I'm happy to be in this good spot. And then for you to be able to see, because sometimes you can catch the vision, or sometimes you can see things. That's the other part that's pretty cool too now.
Yeah, some things it's just seeing something and then feeling like that's what you want to see come to life. It is.
Yeah, that's the fun part, and I'm really passionate about it. I love it. Like what we're doing today, what I love is, you know, inviting back our old wedding couples to, you know, see how they've grown, evolved beyond the wedding day. Some of them, you know, I've gone back and photographed their children and different things, and you know, in our weddings, it's super cool because our bride and grooms like become our family, like they become our friends. So I love that part of it. I love documenting Black love. I love documenting love, period. But it's even more special with this Black love. And I hope changing the narrative of what that looks like, because I feel like in our community, in the streets, you soft if you know, they have to have the woman, or you know, you not Mr. Player with all the different women and stuff. And and it's not even like that. Like where that's immaturity, or that's some other stuff that has to be hurt and trauma that has to be dealt with. Those are survival patterns that are at play. So, and the thing, because I do work in childcare, like I know that we call it modeling good behavior, right? Or you can model behavior, period. It could be good or bad behavior that we can model, but we need to have an example. We need a blueprint. And so now I hope that through this can be maybe that blueprint to show people, like, so you can see positive images of what love looks like. A lot of us are, had toxic examples of what love looked like, and you think like, I don't want that. Yeah, you're right. I don't want that. But you think you don't want the marriage. It's not the marriage you don't want. You don't want the toxicity. You don't want that bad part of it. So that's what I hope that comes out of this, that we can show love for black love in a whole different light and change that narrative. Even to have conversations about what that looks like and what that means. Cause and even for me to be a part of, to hear like different answers of what, this love looks like, or what it means, or what the experience is like. My thoughts coming in as a single woman versus what the reality of love and marriage is like night and day. It is absolutely not the same. And I think we come in with this with so many different misconceptions. What worked for our parents and what worked for us, not the same. Having to make our own rules. So like that's what I enjoy about this, even to take this idea and bring it together to do the execution and stuff. So like, and to feel confident and safe to, like, when I have different ideas, to go with it, to explore it, and if it works out, cool, and if it don't work out, then that's cool too, because now I know how to do it differently. So, and I think, like, even for people in photography, aspiring photographers, or people that's new to the game, like, what it looks like for you is different than what it looked like for me, but that don't make it less. Like, we artists, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Art is so subjective. Like, so what's meaningful and what speaks to me is going to be from my experiences and things that I've been through, and what speaks to you may be different, for what your experiences and what you can identify with and what you've been through. And there's no right or wrong. Like, ain't nobody gonna be out here and be like, you're wrong. Like, who cares? It's what's meaningful to you. So, and I think learning, for me, to learn how to embrace that, to trust that, and to lean into that. So